2,000 pounds per operator hour in an industrial laundry in 2030? A good question. I think it's possible, it's feasible, and I want to make a discussion about it. More in this video. Hi, my name is Christian Wurzelball. I support the textile service industry with management training, know-how in textile service 4.0, and practical hints that you can implement right away. Now, something about the future, or actually even the reality right now. So back then in 2010 or something, or 2012, I visited a laundry in Europe that did already 250 pounds per operator hour for hospitality, and also something like 220 pounds per operator hour for healthcare. Right now we are already quite advanced, and I'm seeing projects in Europe that are right now at 500 pounds per operator hour for hospitality linen, and then you have something like 200 pounds, 450 pounds per operator hour in healthcare. So we are already 25% the way, and I personally think it's feasible to get to this level in 2030 at least. So I think there will be one or two laundries in Europe, maybe in America, at this level. And the difference actually between 1,000 pounds and 200 pounds is not so great. It's just when you say the future cost of 1 hour is $25, then 2,000 pounds are something like 1 cent for 1 pound, and 1,000 pounds are 2.5 cents. So it's basically the difference is not so much. But 2,000 pounds, it sounds really nice. Actually, it's a translation of a video that I did in German, and there it was 1,000 kilograms per operator hour. That was the statement there. So how to do it? It's very easy. It's actually in most cases technology that is already around. So I'm quite sure that it will be implemented in the next 8 years. You need automatic container transport. You have it already at Amazon, and where you have a robot transporting the bins from the customer. That's actually not rocket science. That's state-of-the-art technology. You need to unload the container automatically. That's easy on a conveyor belt. You need to sort it automatically. That's already done with Invatec. You need to feed it into the ironers and terry folders. That's something new, and they're working on it. And I would say 8 years is a good time to do it. That's very feasible to do in the next years. There are some prototypes to do it with terry products, and I'm sure that it will also be done for ironers. Then you need the automatic picking for the different orders for the customers, and then you transport it automatically into the truck. So actually, it's something that's feasible from a technological point of view, and it will happen. But there's a really nice sentence from Lika, and I've extended the sentence with one line. And Lika says, proven technology that serves people and processes. So you need to install something that is already proven. In some cases, it's already proven in the automotive industry, and in some cases, even in the laundry industry, that serves people and processes. So you need to the technology itself shall not be an aim in itself. It shall serve people and processes. And in order to clarify that customers are also people, I added this and brings about the value to the customer. So you need to also to bring customer value. Amazon, for instance, you cannot make an investment. You cannot even make a proposal. You cannot even write a memo without clarifying why what you're doing provides a value to the customer. So you need to provide a value to the customer. And even if it's just that you have still a very high quality, but can deliver it at a very low price, that's also a value. But you need to provide value to the customer. That's the citation, the quote. An example from a different industry, because it's easy to reflect on a different industry and then back to the laundry industry again. When you take a bakery, and actually this is an example from my MBA study in Toronto, where we had a very good prof in operations management. The example is when you have an industrial bakery, then it's huge. You produce tons of bread each day, truckloads of bread, and so it's a huge industrial plant, and you service a whole region with bread. There you have fully automated production lines. Of course, a fixed capacity. So when you are able to produce, 100 tons a day, then you cannot do 110 because there's just not the machinery there. So it's completely automated on the one hand, but you have also fixed capacity. You have very high fixed cost, of course, because you have the depreciation and financing cost and so on. And the unit costs, the variable costs are just, the raw materials and energy, more or less. Maybe a little bit of labor, but basically it's just the raw materials. And then you have no flexibility, basically. So when there is a different requirement, when you would change the size of the bread just a little bit, then all of a sudden you run into issues because the conveyor belts are not made for it, and you need to change everything, and to make a different kind of bread requires maybe $1 million in investment. But at the end of the day, for the bread that you produce, you are the cost leader. Nobody can make it cheaper than you do it right now. Then you have, of course, a commercial baker. I don't know whether that's the right word. You can correct me. But it's a medium-sized bakery that's actually a substantial bakery. So this bakery works in batch mode. You have different types of dough and different types of bread that you want to produce. And if there's a different demand for a different product, you are able to adjust. And so you would make, instead of 3 batches, 5 batches of a product that is performing well. The productivity is average, so it's not very high. But on the other hand, you have much more flexibility. You can also adjust to market requirements more easily. And of course, you are in the quality segment. So you are the best. You provide the best bread in the region, and that's your USP. So that's the commercial bakery. And then, of course, you have the confectioner. It's highly customized. You make a cake for a wedding. Labor costs are quite high, so it's probably the biggest portion of your P&L. And the fixed costs are very low. So that's the different types of bakery, and I would assume that we'll have also for the long term these 3 different types of laundries in the laundry industry. So there is the high industrialized laundry that is fully automated, completely fixed, but basically who is the cost leader in its region, and so there's no way around when it comes to pricing. But this laundry is not flexible to change anything in the process. And then you have the commercial laundry that can adjust to the niche. Of course, has to charge a higher price, but you have also customers that are willing to pay the price if they get the appropriate service. And then you have the specialized laundry, retail laundry, for consumers, or I don't know, for some curtain of a cinema. Everything has its place, and I would assume that this will be the case also in 10-20 years. But you need to know in which what's your level of play. So what are the prerequisites to automatization in the laundry business? First, you need the right business model. You need 100% specialization. There is no way you can service different customer groups with one really, really high productive facility. You need one system. So most probably it should be rental. You need one offer. And you need quite some market. The market needs to be at least able to facilitate 40 million pounds a year of just this type of offer. I calculated it with 3 shifts on 7 days, so it's basically 24/7. Of course, if it's more, if it's 100 million pounds a year or 200 million pounds a year, even better. But probably you can do it with 40 million pounds a year. You need to have extremely good maintenance. So not just average maintenance, not just good maintenance. You need extremely good maintenance. So basically you need to be benchmark. So when there are, 5,000 laundries in the States, you need to be at the top 100 laundries in the States when it comes to maintaining your machine, to preemptive maintenance, to cleaning your equipment, on how to operate the equipment, and so on. So you need to be best in class. So maintenance is huge. And maybe this is also the homework. If you want to go this way, then maintenance is the first to start with. You need probably 100% RFID technology. That's my personal opinion. I don't think that this will work with COG. I don't think that this will work without RFID. So most probably it's 100% RFID and 100% rental in this case. You can prove me wrong. Then you probably need everything new. So you need a production facility with sufficient space and height. Automatization needs its own space and its own layout. You need the right containers. So most probably you need to exchange everything that you have right now, because you need to transport these containers automatically. You need the right item list of your rental linen. So it needs to be very, very tight item list. And then you need also a very lean and modern IT system that suits the process and makes no compromises regarding this process. You need enough equity. That's a big one, actually. The investment is high, and if you lose one customer, then you shouldn't have a problem. So you need to have enough equity in order to sustain an issue there. And you need to budget probably 100 million additional investment. So when you invest, so for instance, if one plant costs 20 million to set up the plant normally, then you probably need to invest 30 million. Why? Because my personal approximation is you need, for each employee that you want to replace, $300,000 investment, more or less, plus minus. and then you need probably also 20% redundancy. So you can have your redundancy in the third shift. So when you just make 2 shifts, then it might be okay. If you run 3 shifts, then you need to have additional machines in order to have the maintenance and redundancy of downtime, in order that you do not compromise your customer satisfaction. So that's basically the prerequisites that you need, and you will see you see that not every laundry will meet this. So there will be a few laundries in 2030 who will do 2,000 pounds, but it will not be many. You can also have, and this improvement, that's, I don't know whether this word is common. It's a translation of a word in Swiss. In Swiss it's called Verschlimmbesserung. So it's basically a verse improvement, or something like this, if you would translate it to worsen it with an improvement. So when you have an example with robotics, and this improvement would be, or if you cannibalize the investment, the finances, or the attention to your current bottleneck. So when you have a bottleneck, for instance, at the ironers, and you invest into robotics at the towel folders, makes no sense. You should rather invest the money into the ironers than into the towel folders. If your bottleneck, your constraint is that you have a too high fluctuation, turnover of your employees, then invest in your employees and not into robotics. If you have an issue with whatever, so you need to focus your attention and also your finances onto the bottleneck. And if this is not the case, then robotics is just a shiny object that diverts attention, that diverts finances, and that's bad. The next thing is, of course, deterioration of quality for the customer. So I've talked with many operators regarding productivity increase, and then we discussed the issue of quality and what impact this has on the quality for the customer. And then they would say they shall not complain. But the point is, they have all the rights to complain because they are paying your bill, and you need to provide the customer with the right quality that he is paying for. And if an automatization reduces the quality, then it's not good. So for instance, when you have a rewash of 1%, 2%, and there's also a reason for the rewash, because you need it, there are stains or whatever, and you need also to discard textiles. So if you then start to deliver these 1 or 2% non-performing items, bad quality, and it adds up because the customer doesn't sort it out, and then all of a sudden it's 5 or 10% of your linen pool, that's bad. That's really bad, and you will not do it. So take care of the quality. Disadvantages due to less flexibility. So if you are the one in the market who is flexible regarding how to fold, regarding the different item sizes and so on, colors and so on, sorting, then if you are making automatization that decreases your flexibility, you need to know it beforehand whether this is an impact to your current customers and potential customers. Then the system is not sufficiently tested. Some of these technologies are quite new, and you should not invest it if it's not really proven. And linen mix is not appropriate, so you need to be very down to earth regarding your linen mix. And actually, you should do it on the shop floor, because sometimes the management doesn't really know what special treatment some customers get. and only if you stay at the shop floor for 1 day, 1 week, and you realize that they are changing the programs of the machine, or that they do something different for different customers, then you see whether you can do it with automatization or not. So that's a big one. Then, of course, it's about the sorting. So if the sorting is not good enough for the machine, then you have either downtime with the machine, or the machine sorts out the non-conforming products, and you reduce your ROI of this machine. As mentioned before, machine maintenance and cleaning. If you have a poor cleaning, that's basically a no-go. You need to be not average. You need to be really, really best in class when it comes to maintenance of your machines, and basically your technicians need to be on par with the best technicians of your suppliers. So you need to have really best in class maintenance. The line flow. So for instance, if you say, okay, you make an investment into robotics and you use this machine then 3 shifts a day, but the rest of the plant is just 1 shift or 2 shifts, then this causes a backlog during the day before the robots, and behind the robots, the people do not know how to fill the orders for the customer. So you need to have the same throughput at every stage of your plant. So basically, the flow through the plant has priority. And last but not least, you should be aware that automatization takes up valuable space. So if you need the space in order to get additional customers, or that you have to quit customers because you want to automatize, is not a good idea. And basically, you can take the contribution margin of the lost revenue that you cannot get due to automatization, and subtract it from the ROI of this equipment. So in some cases, in the many laundries, the space in the facility is the constraint. And in this case, you must not reduce the space. Yeah. And automatization, in most of the time, takes up more space. So what does the automatization mean then in concrete terms? On the one hand, you need to make assumptions, hypotheses about the market situation in 2030. So how will your competitor behave? Will you be able to be the one who is hyper productive, or are you the one that is the niche supplier, or do you think that the automatization will not occur because labor costs are not as big? So I would assume that in the next 8 years, the labor costs in Europe will be something like $40 per operator hour, even for unskilled workers. Depending on the inflation, maybe $1,000. So the question is, what are your assumptions in your region? What will be the amount of automatization? Then, of course, what is the target picture? What is the strategy for your operation? So how do you position yourself? How flexible do you want to be? Do you want to be the cost leader in your market? Do you want to be the quality leader in your market? Which niche do you want to service? Do you want to have a mixed operation still in order to reduce risk or whatever? So you need to make a positioning statement yourself. And then, of course, you need to focus on your current constraint and not just on what you want to do in 2030. So you need to focus what is your constraint right now and focus there, and do not dream about something that will not happen this or next year. And I would really recommend that you implement lean management and operational excellence now. That's actually a prerequisite to automatization. So the better, one part of lean management is also TPM, total productive maintenance. So increasing the overall equipment efficiency, for instance, is a part of lean management. And I think it's important that you do this homework first and then start to think about further automatization. And then of course you need to decide how to specialize. If you have customers right now that do not suit your strategy, then you need to get the right ones, and you need to cancel the wrong ones in a friendly way, so that you do not set them up. And last but not least, you need to have sufficient equity. So you need to work on your profit margin right now and also save money, because investments in technology are fixed costs, and you need to do it, a good part you need to do it also from equity. Yeah, so I want to repeat the sentence from before. It's about proven technology that serves people and processes and brings about customer value. And I think that's the point. If you liked this video, then give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. I'll try to publish weekly, maybe even more than weekly. And there is a link for the subscription of a newsletter down in the video description. So you can subscribe to a newsletter. I'm sending it out also once a week. And it's especially for entrepreneurs and executives in the laundry industry. It's all about different topics from sales, marketing, and also technology and management. It's everything, and also some news from the market. And if you're an entrepreneur and if you want to speak with myself or with someone from my staff, there is a link to book a free consultation, and we'll take it from there. We'll see whether we can provide you with some additional value, and whether we are made for each other. Yeah, that's it, and we'll see us in the next one. Bye bye.